I always was expressing as a result of observe the last few decades. Basic human nature, like any other animal, is to want peace, happy, do not want suffering, problem. Yet, among thousands different species of mammals, we human being, most troublemaker. Because, this marvelous human brain, intelligence, use not well balanced with warm-heartedness, but intelligence combined with anger, jealousy. So then our intelligence, instead of bring happiness or peace, this brain combined with anger, then we really become the creator of problem. I think obviously war, the name of war, was mobilized big number and killing each other. Other animal, few occasions they fight, but otherwise never happened that. But we human being, over 1,000 years, killing each other. So now, other hand, now some scientists also used to say, basic human nature, since we are social animal, so basic human nature is more compassionate. It is very true. As soon as we born, we survived with mother's tremendous affection and family. They look after. Otherwise, we can't survive. So, the very basis of our life, very much based on human compassion. And then, as I mentioned earlier, even animal, the social animal, individuals' well-being depend on rest of the community. So they have the sense of one community, helping each other. So we are social animal. At a young age, these basic human value very much sort of alive. But once we join education, existing education, not much talk about these basic human value. But these so-called modern education come from West. So their tradition, I think previously, monastery, nunnery, like I think in Tibet or other area also, I think a monastery or nunnery, these carry the education. Then in the West, industrialization. So the 1,000-year-old education, which is related with faith, is not adequate. So separate education institution started. So at that time, the spiritual or inner value is taken care by church. Now newly developed education institution now carry the responsibility, other sort of education, mathematics, or so on, these things. So gradually religious faith among the public, so less and less interest. So we can see in Europe and America also, you see huge monastery, Christian monastery. Now just a few monks or nuns. So nobody, not many people showing interest. So therefore now, education institution itself should take care about our inner value. So these days, I sort of expressing that from kindergarten, we usually teach children the hygiene of physical. Similarly, we need teaching from kindergarten hygiene of emotion. So then, from kindergarten level, then further sort of,
as you go up in the school system.
So education about mind, knowledge about mind. These days I describe map of emotion should include in education field with fuller knowledge about emotion. Then you see, it is easier to tackle our destructive emotion. Now here, India, over 3,000 years, is a concept of non-violence, ahimsa, and karuna. These 1,000-year-old Indian sort of tradition, non-violence and compassion, is now today's world very much need these two things, non-violence and compassion. Not as a part of religious practice, but as education, part of education, and how to create happy individual with inner peace. Just to pray, God, not sufficient. We must have knowledge. When about anger comes, then use our intelligence and reduce the power, intensity of anger. That is karuna, compassion. Increase compassion, then anger automatically reduce. So, we are social animal. Each individual, including kings or queens in ancient time, now these days president or prime minister, they also remain just lonely. They can't survive. Each human being, you see, their survival entirely depends on the community. So now in terms of community, in ancient time, your family and your neighbor, very small circle. Now today's world, because of technology and communication and also global economy, so now whole world, 7 billion human beings, actually one human community. So now we need teach children. Each individual's future depends on the community. And in terms of community, then 7 billion human beings are part of our human community. So now here, I emphasize, you see, we need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. I think children, young age, They don't care what others' nationality or religious faith. So long, play together. Same. Once we, through education, we emphasize different nationality, different religious faith, then the sense of we and they develop. That's the basis of killing. In ancient time, also, now once we develop strong sense of we and they, then you see this war only, I think, exists among humanity. It's quite a pity. This marvelous intelligence, brain, is causing more violence, and because of the organized, you see, violence. Animal, no problem. So now we have to think seriously, and our existing education should include education about our mind, about our emotion. Then the children, the better, the position to tackle destructive emotion. And that also, according to India's tradition, secular, not based on religion. Information come from religious text, but the subject itself is academic subject, not religious subject. So whether believer or non-believer believe this religion or that religion is a secondary question. It's individual matter. But as we human being, we are a social animal. So knowledge how to tackle our destructive emotion, how to keep peace of mind, inner peace. Through inner peace, real world peace can develop. Very important now. World peace through declaration, through resolution, not much useful. The real world peace through inner peace and through education, sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Then entire human being, 7 billion human beings, are our brothers, sisters, same our community. The rest of the humanity happy, I will happy. Rest of humanity difficult. Then how can individual remain happy person? Very difficult. So therefore, education, I feel, should include some education about our inner peace, how to tackle inner peace, not through prayer, but through understanding which emotion creates violence, anger, jealousy, anxiety, fear. So these ultimately related self-centered, I, me. So more altruism, take care about the rest of the community. Then today's reality, entire humanity, one community. So instead of also fighting, now we should develop the universal love. They are part of we. So these, through education, there more altruism here. The individual becoming much more happier. Too much me, self-centered, then difficult. So according to my own experience, and then some of my friends' experience, you see, thinking, altruistic attitude, these people much happier. My friend, one monk who spent 18 years in Chinese Gulag, in early 80, he got the permission, come to India. And then he stayed here till his death. So once, since I know him very well, before 1959, so we just a casual talk. And he mentioned during 18 years in Chinese Gulag, few occasions, he really faced danger. I thought danger on his life. And I asked, what kind of danger? They say, losing compassion towards Chinese. He considered that's a very serious matter. So he considered, losing compassion towards Chinese is danger. Then, according to our own experience, keep altruism, and the whole phenomena appears something positive. Too much self-centered attitude, then whole phenomena appears something difficult. And then fear, anxiety, then that creates anger. So anger very much related with self-centered attitude. Altruism is opposite. And today's world, according to the reality, now scientists also say constant anger, hatred is actually eating our immune system. So therefore, not as a religious matter or next life or heaven, not talking these things, simply how to create happy individual, happy family, through that way, happy humanity. So education, we have to think seriously, education should include education about our inner world, like that. So you, since many years we know, is you really showing interest. Now this word, better we, and finally better I, then better we, then better world. Ultimately individual, the community is combination of individual. Ultimately individual, they're very important. So I think now today's world, I think a sense of community, bigger community, that now, unlike early part of 20th century, now later part of 20th century, you see the sense of community grow stronger. Like one example is the European Union. For example, French under the leadership of de Gaulle, German under the leadership of Adenauer. So I think these people really fed up too much violence. So they developed the idea European Union. Not through religious thing, but use common sense. So now European Union is one example. They consider European, they become more mature, thinking, wider perspective, not just me, my nation, my nation. English now something different now. So they want to leave European Union. And anyway, so because European Union developed, at least the last few decades, no longer any killing among the member states. If European Union not developed, I think at least the last few decades, some killing may take place. Therefore, now these are the indication we become more mature. So now European more sort of education field and knowledge field, I think more advanced. So they develop. Now Latin America should develop one union. Then Africa, whole Africa Union, I think too big. So Northern Africa, some kind of union. Then East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, like that. And that's the only way to build happy humanity, live together. So then you can save a lot of money. Usually it's spent for weapon. Really waste. Nobody is dare to use this weapon. At the same time, spend a lot of money to build army and weapon. Truly, I think, wasted money. If you really, want fund weapon, then let them kill each other. Then okay. Nobody wants to kill each other. But at the same time, spend a lot of money to build military forces. That's contradiction. So eventually, we should develop a world without weapon. So finally, demilitarized world we can achieve through education. And whenever we find some disagreement, difficulties, so we must use human language and talk. So these days I describing this 21st century now should be century of dialogue. Whenever we find some difficulties, talk, through talk, not use weapon, like that. So that's my view, so you can make certain sort of significant contribution. So wonderful, your organization, your work. Thank you. Now, we can discuss.
In a short message, Your Holiness, could you express your declaration of love to Mother Earth?
Kasa. Ka. Oh. I think on this planet, unlike 20th century, now 21st century, number of people now really showing genuine sense of concern over world peace. So, now, for example, our organization, one sort of clear sort of example where people now really want genuine peace and through sense of global community. So I very much appreciate your organization, how much you make contribution regarding awareness. So please continue your work. And then, now these, I feel, ultimately you should pay more attention about education from kindergarten level to teach children. That's my feeling. So world peace is really realistic sort of thinking. So people everywhere say peace, peace, world peace, world peace. But world peace must start individual inner peace. Individual inside a lot of frustration, anger, jealousy, then world peace difficult. So therefore, everywhere people now really showing genuine desire, world peace. Now we must develop inner peace, individual peaceful person, then community, then country or continent, and finally whole world. So I'm quite sure your organization already making some sort of seed, so this further increase. So
I have a question for you. So as you know, I will...
Sit.
Okay. So as you heard, I'm really interested in spirituality, and next year I will go in Namjoling to become a monk, and I'm conscious that my path will not be really easy. So my question would be, what is your advice for me in my spiritual path?
As far as Buddhism is concerned, Tibet tradition, you see, 8th century Tibetan king inspired very close link through marriage with Chinese emperor. He prefer Buddhism must bring directly from India, not through China. So Chinese Buddhists, wonderful, but they prefer more meditation. They not much sort of emphasis study. So then at that time, 8th century, the top master of Nalanda was the Rakshita, great scholar, logician, philosopher. He accepted the invitation from Tibetan king, and he introduced Buddha Dharma according to Nalanda tradition. So Nalanda tradition, we very much use logical approach. The Nalanda tradition, people who study logic and thinking logical way, and then even Buddha's own teaching, Buddha's own word, we raise question, why? Buddha says, yes, we will not go that way. Why Buddha stated that? So immediately, you see, thinking, investigation, reason. So therefore, the Rakshita himself, Rakshita himself, great logician. He wrote some text about logic and philosophy. You see, these, including our text, his writing, we study. So therefore, he himself, great logician and a philosopher. So he introduced Buddha Dharma, Nalanda tradition, and according to his own style, very much emphasis logic. So now the Nalanda tradition, logical approach, not faith, not belief, but always raised question, why? So now today, in the Buddhist tradition, Pali tradition, not much use reason, logic, and Nalanda tradition extensively use reasoning. So traditionally, Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, these mainly follow Pali tradition, not much use, logical approach. And then China. The person, Hunzang, who introduced Buddha Dharma in China, he also studied Nalanda. So, Tibetan Buddhist tradition originally introduced one Nalanda master, Shandarakshita. And then Chinese Buddhists, you see the Shenzang or something, he himself used to study Nalanda. So China follow Nalanda tradition. Then through China, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, and from Tibet, Mongolia, and previously some republic of Russia, like Kalmykia, Tuva, and Buryato. These Russian Federation, because a member of Federation, you see, they carry Nalanda tradition. So we extensively, you see, utilize reason. So China, Japan, and Vietnamese, Korean, they not much pay attention about logical approach. They prefer rather meditation. So then, I think Tibet, till now, we very much emphasize importance of logical approach. And then Mongolia also is the same. When I say Mongolia, and Kalmykia, Buryato, Tuva, including these different republic in Russian Federation. So now, some publication which we, you see, made here, and also, you see, translate into Japanese and Chinese and Hindi, English, like that. So some of them, some of these, also the text already translated into Chinese. So some Chinese scholar who notice, you see, these books, they describe Tibetan Buddhist tradition is truly Nalanda tradition, and Nalanda tradition is a very scientific religion. They express. It is true. Buddha himself, you see, express, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." It's a very scientific way. So now, firstly, study, very important. Now, Namdruling and Belagobi, I have been there few occasions. They are sort of quality study, very good. So, the important is study, very important. Then, once we develop sufficient knowledge about Buddhist philosophy and the way to investigate through logical approach, I myself also, now last about 40 years, I have sort of serious discussion with modern scientists, mainly cosmology, neurobiology, and then physics, particularly quantum physics, and then psychology. So as a result, a number of scientists now really showing interest to learn Buddhist psychology, these things. And then quantum physics, I usually say telling, one my secret thing, there's when quantum physics You see, when they explain about quantum physics, of course, I humbly listen. But in my mind, I feel I know better. Instead of learning from them, I can teach them. Because our sort of study, the Chitta Mantra philosophy and the Madhyamika philosophy, clearly mentioned differences, appearance, and reality. Now, quantum physics, as far as the external thing is concerned, you see, there's huge gap, appearance and reality. Appearance, it seems to see something exists there. But if you investigate, nothing exists objectively. So everything depends on observer. This quantum physics say now, the Nalendra philosophy, very similar. There's some Chitta Mantra philosophy. They say no external things. Everything simply kasoda.
Projection.
Reflection on mind. So there is no external things. That also quite similar, quantum physics. Then Madhyamika philosophy also. You see, if we investigate chata chajen cheche, chache ba serjela, chajen nyekyon.
So, according to the Madhyamaka philosophy, when you look at something, you know that the thing is made up of its parts. And when you try to, identify the object and try to find through the critical analysis, you will not be able to pinpoint anything as being that object because it's made up of its different parts. The parts make up the whole, and nothing can be founded.
So, to scientists, they mainly, you see, in order to know about reality. Buddhist psychology, the lot of destructive emotion is very much grasping appearances. So all negative emotion very much based on independent existence there, objectively. So the antidote of that is nothing objectively exists as appears. The reality much depend on the observer. So like Chitta Mantra say, mind only school of thought. So these helpful to reduce the strong grasping. There are good, independent, absolute good, absolute bad. So these causing anger, attachment. So nothing objectively exists. Then intensity of these negative emotion reduce. Like that. So therefore now study very important. Then gradually now since I came to India, I asked all monks or monastery. And previously, some monastery simply carry some ritual. Now every monastery, including nunnery, should start study, serious study. And now no differences, believer or non-believer, among believer or monk or nun or lay people, no differences. We should study. That's very important. Now whole Himalayan range, they want a small group, they develop, and their aim is whole monastic institution in whole northern India, Himalayan range. All monastery eventually should be learning center. That's very good. So now the study, very important. As I mentioned earlier, Namdrilling, study, standard, very good. So you join. And then become monk or not, no hurry. Oh, I think better remain lay people. Or otherwise, you see, become a few years as a monk, then disrobe, that's not good.
Dear Holiness, what mindset do you advise us, the youth, in order to fulfill a purpose that seems almost impossible?
Whether there is certain purpose or not, we're already born on this planet. So now, everybody, you see, have the moral responsibility to build happy world, better world. As I already mentioned, the 7 billion human beings, one community. Everyone want happy life. And yet, a lot of problems. Now, time come, not only look material thing, but look inward. Then, the ancient Indian psychology is very useful. So, my commitment is I'm trying to revival this ancient Indian knowledge about non-violence related with altruism. These should revive through education, not through some ritual. In India, a lot of temples, a lot of ritual. Now, ritual is also good, but most important is education, study. So ancient Indian knowledge about how to develop inner peace. Now this should combine with modern education. India, only in this country, India have the ability to combine ancient Indian knowledge about peace of mind and modern education about material development, including science and technology. You can combine these things. So, I think in previous century, 20th century, Mahatma Gandhiji used to show world non-violence. A number of people you see very much attracted. Like Bishop Tutu, wonderful. And then also Martin Luther King. They seriously follow the Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violence sort of theory. So now, 21st century, I think India, you see, should show the world how to bring peace of mind through training of our mind, not through prayer. So strictly secular way, in order to contribute whole world, firstly, should revive within the country. Then, I think the present existing Indian education is very much, you see, materialistic, material-oriented. So now, India is secular. So, whether believer or non-believer, you see, these should include in education. Then India really can make significant contribution regarding in world peace through inner peace. Yes? Since 7 billion human beings, one human community, so each of us have the responsibility to create better world, happier humanity. I believe that.
Hello, Your Holiness. You spoke about education, but how can we do it? How can we educate big masses to love and compassion in order to promote positive and good actions?
I think generally the proper way to promote inner peace is not relying on religious quotation, but mainly scientific finding. The religion or peace of mind, not for heaven, not for or say the next life, is simply how to become a peaceful, happy human being. Then ecology, marbeanda, ecology. Then India's tradition, ahimsa, non-violence, also include, you see, protect environment. This is materialistic thinking, the maximum exploitation about nature resources. It is wrong, short-sighted. So this planet is our only home. Then global warming, now year by year, now increasing. So therefore, now here Dharamshala also, 1960 I came here. That winter, a lot of snow. Then less and less. So therefore, now global warming really now become very serious. So I very much appreciate the Swedish girl. Very good. So these young people now really showing genuine concern about ecology is very important. Then Africa, huge continent, great potential. But meantime, the climate condition, and many area too much dry, and many area too much rain, a lot of problem. So this also related with global warming. So it's quite serious. It is a matter of our survival. If this global warming continuously increase, then after, now this is 21st century, then end of 21st century, we don't know. Some ecologist, some sort of the expert, one meeting in this very room, they some express, they sort of express within next 7-8 decades, there's real danger world become desert. Less rain, too hot. So it is really Tibet, usually people call roof of the world. And sometimes I describe Tibet is supplier of water to India. So one my sort of commitment, a political matter, I totally retired. But the ecology about Tibet, I fully committed. So the some Chinese officials, and also sometimes is it private business, is in there too much exploitation, nature resources. So exploit nature resources, right, okay. But meantime, to keep ecology, including forest, preserve forest, or these things. So now ecology, that really become very serious, very serious. So like you, young people, should speak whenever you have opportunity. and more people now should say about importance of ecology. That's very important. Next.
Your Holiness, my question is about the oneness, to experience the oneness. How could we promote the oneness of humanity and nature in a very disconnected world?
Now, main thing is, I feel, education based on scientific finding. That's really convincing. So I think education and media people, I think now should pay more attention, not just daily political sort of news, but what's long run, what serious sort of consequences about humanity, about the world, including ecology. So these, I think, in form of article, and occasionally some radio talk like that. That's very important. Now these, not like you see religious sort of concept, heaven. Then some people don't care about heaven. Now, should based on scientific sort of finding. So this very life, you see, very much affected if we carelessly ecology and inner value, like that. So education, talk, educate people, more talk, these things, I feel. Okay.
Dear Holiness, I wish to dedicate my life to others, and I know it will bring happiness, but also difficulties like doubts. What would be your advice to overcome doubts?
Now, basic as a motivation, how to bring happiness among the humanity. And then you cannot achieve easily or one way. So the same sort of goal to build happy humanity, but then method, you see, also different way. So whatever way you find you can do more, and then choose that. That also, you see, make significant contribution. Through one method, whole world change overnight, impossible. So when you find some way and make effort, and then maybe fail, then again 10 times failure, 10 times effort. Go like that. Since basic our aim is very good, to build happy world and a safer world. That's very right. Then you can make, I think, that same goal and different sort of field, you can make some contribution, I feel.
Dear Holiness, thank you for receiving us. My question is very simple. How can we face to life challenges when we don't believe in a religion? Thank you.
Yes, I mentioned earlier, we are not talking about next life. That's private business. We are part of humanity, 7 billion human beings. It is our responsibility. We are part of 7 billion human beings, humanity. So we have to think. Today, humanity is a lot of problems which our own, as I mentioned already, our own creation. So this, we have to think more deeper way. What is wrong? Nobody wants problem, but a lot of problem, our own creation. So we have to think more deeper research work. So then finally, emotion. Self-centered emotion, short-sighted and narrow-minded. Narrow-minded, short-sighted cannot see the reality. So we must, see the reality more holistic way. We cannot understand the reality through one dimension. We have to use this human intelligence 3 dimension or 6 dimension. Then we get the clearer picture of the reality. Then our approach become more realistic. Just one side, not necessarily. Our action may be good motivation, our action is unrealistic action. So here again, use human intelligence fully. When we investigate, our mind should be neutral. I want strong desire, I want this, and then investigate will not be unbiased. So our aim, certain things you want like that, but when we investigate, our mind should be neutral. Then we can carry investigation more scientific way, more properly. Okay.
Dear Holiness, I have one question about what are the main talent?
Skills.
That we, Better World members need for the near future.
I think the motivation, warm-heartedness, sense of global responsibility, that's very much connected with altruism. And then with that, we must utilize human intelligence fully. As I mentioned earlier, look 3 dimensions or as a long-term consequences. These are very important. So then, in different fields, economy, technology, science, and ecology, all these, then it is related about humanity. So different field. But in order to know that, our mind, as I already mentioned, our mind will objectively analyze, study. Then you get the clearer picture, the holistic picture, then approach. Okay? And when, I think frankly speaking, when we investigate these things, the religious belief, I think for time being, should aside. Otherwise, everything created by God. And then, I think God, no time to investigate these things. And then the non-theistic religion, many Indian religion, no creator, like Jainism, Buddhism, and one part of Sankhya philosophy, no creator, but rather self-creation. But then, more emphasis, responsibility on our own shoulder. The theistic religion is everything God, so quite simple. So when we face some problem, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Whether God listen or not. Of course, I respect all religion. I think important is the theistic religion. We all created by God. What kind of God? Infinite love. So entire 7 billion human beings are children of that kind of Father, infinite love. So if you seriously believe that, then no basis to kill each other. All 7 billion human beings, you see, they God's children, same Father. So all brothers, sisters. So sometimes I think the religion become lip service, not thinking seriously. First World War, Second World War, mainly in Europe, everybody, you see, pray God. If you really pray to God, believe God, then how can kill each other? All are children of same Father. And all major religious tradition, main message is love, including Islam. One my friend, in public meeting, you see, he mentioned, as an Islam practitioner, you see, we love Allah, or similarly, we must love entire creation, a creature of Allah. Wonderful. Buddhist terminology, sentient being, mother sentient being. So same meaning. All, you see, should she should consider as dear as your own mother, like that. So all major religious tradition use different philosophy, but same message of love, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. And I want to share one Bishop Tutu. I really respect him. We consider as a spiritual brother. Wonderful. So, since we become very, very close friend, I have due admiration, respect, that he described me mischievous Dalai Lama. And then I use mischievous bishop. Then one occasion was quite serious. You see, he half joke. He, as a Christian, believe God. So after his death, he ready go to heaven. Dalai Lama, non-believer, so go something different place. That, frankly speaking, hell. Like that. So there's the different philosophical views. Then there's such sort of a difficult sort of question. I feel best thing is ask scientists. Then scientists, I think, difficult to say these things. Next.
Your Holiness, it was an incredible moment in September 2015 in New York at the UN headquarters to see all the countries of the world approve this 2030 agenda and its 17 development goals. My question, what are your recommendations to see spirituality, compassion, well-being facilitate the implementation of this agenda? Thank you.
And basically, water on the teaching Dharamshala.
So water, basically water is a source of our happiness.
Without water, then world dry. So then how to preserve? I think you know better. I don't know. So these, of course, with altruism, then you will not feel tiredness. Certain sort of bigger object, and then, in spite difficult work carry work. So motivation, altruism is the source of inner strength. Otherwise, I don't know.
His Holiness. In Europe, we have been protesting for more than a year. Lots of, at least the young people, a lot of activists have been protesting for decades. Do you have advice for them, especially for those who are losing courage, and for those who are doubting whether peaceful protest is the way to go?
As already mentioned, firstly we have to think our goal, make very clear. Then the method, we have to think whether realistic method or unrealistic method. Then you convince realistic method, then 100 times fail, 100 times re-effort. So that's the only way. I think even animal, also you see they, one effort fail, and again you see they try. So then we have this intelligence. So I think several times failure should not cause discourage, must determined. Okay.